Okay, today I'm going to try to make a video, not too long, but how to save money in paintball. It's an expensive sport, and I've watched some of or budget baller videos is another way to put it. How to save money on gear or stuff that you really don't need. So I'm going to show you a couple things. I think when you save money in paintball or be a budget baller is to a certain extent. You don't want cheap gear. You can play with probably $40, but you're going to have a lot of problems and it won't be fun. So you got to have gear that's good, but not breaking the bank. So I'm going to show you a couple things that I do or use that saves me money during paintball, because I do consider myself a budget baller, I guess. So this is actually a Brass Eagle Raptor and a cheap view. I don't even know what kind of mask that is. I guess it's a, let's see. Oh, it's a JT mask. This is what I mean by being too cheap. This is probably a $10 gun, $10 mask, $20 setup. And some people, you could be really a budget baller if you had this. You're only spending 20 bucks paint, and you're good to go with a couple 12-gram tanks. Definitely don't recommend this. It's a garbage gun, garbage mask with fogging up on you. So in that case, I wouldn't say you're a budget baller if you play with one of these, because it's not really. I don't even know if I consider that a real paintball gun, even though it does act as one. So that's a bad example of something you don't want to set up as. Something that I do use frequently, or all this summer pretty much, was my invert mini. And some people hate invert minis. Like I said, I did a review on one. Some people hate them, some people love them. And I love mine. I bought this after my '06 Ego broke. And the reason I bought it is because how cheap, exactly, if you want to save money, how cheap it is for parts. I get a solenoid for this for $30 compared to Ego, which is around, I think they're over $100. You can take this thing apart, clean it. Parts are cheap, they're everywhere. And so when I had that older Ego, I actually couldn't even find the part, even if I wanted to replace it, so I sold it as a broken gun. But some people, everyone has these guns, and people hate them because everyone's got it, but it's easy to clean, it's simple to maintain. It's like buying a very expensive car or getting an older BMW. Even though it's an older BMW and you got it for a good price, doesn't mean that the parts or labor is going to be cheap on it to fix. Same goes for the Ego there. It was a little bit more expensive to fix, but if you got the money, it's definitely a great gun. For me, I didn't have the money at the time, so I just bought this. Haven't had to fix it yet, but parts I know are cheap. I know how to take this fully apart. So it's definitely a great gun. Recommend it. Shoots great. I did like my Ego a little bit better, but it's quite a bit more expensive gun in the day when it was new. This is my Empire hopper. I got it off a friend, actually. Got this for $20, I think. $20 hopper. When you're looking at paintball stuff, it's good to know your stuff in local classifieds. Used stuff is pretty much all my gear is used, except for a mask. I'd say maybe stay away from a used mask. But this is a used hopper. The battery door doesn't stay on properly, so I put tape there. That's the only thing that's wrong with it. For 20 bucks, feeds pretty much any other gun on the market right now. It's maybe a little bit heavier, a little bit larger than a rotor, but if you're on a budget, this is a great hopper used. I don't see why you would need a brand new hopper if you want to save a little bit of money. So yeah, this is a Empire B with a rip drive on it as well. This is kind of a good example of saving money. These are gloves probably from 5 years ago. Raven gloves I probably got for $4.99 off Action Village. They've been used, and I don't wear gloves too often, but if you do need gear, you can get cheap gear, and these have lasted, yeah, like I said, 5 years, and they still work. Maybe not the best skinny or perfect padding, but they for the price of them, I can't go wrong with that. So I recommend getting cheap gear if you need it. Things like jerseys, I had a jersey, outgrew it, never wore it that much. You don't need that type of stuff. So if you can, and you don't have the money, put it towards something else. You'll be happier if you get something like a little bit of a better gun, a little bit nicer hopper to load, but still stay in your budget. If you really want to keep paint cheap, I guess, move to a pump. Looking at the invert mini there, shoots quite a bit faster, and it's hard to conserve paint when you have a double trigger. Looking at a pump like this here, like I did another review on this one as well, single trigger, it's almost impossible for me to go over a hopper in a game with this, because you're shooting, no matter how much you shoot, you're still limited to how fast you can go, which really limits the paint you shoot. Here's a pump here. Definitely recommend it if you're on a budget. They're fun to play with, and it's what I'm using really right now alongside the Mini. For a budget, if you're gonna get a budget mask, that's something I don't recommend get used. All my gear is pretty much used except for masks. Here's a V-Force Advantage. And this is one of the best masks for the price. I think this is $30 mask. Built awesome. I used it for years. It's pretty scratched up now though. I finally got a new mask last summer. But this was used forever. For $30, you can't go wrong. And I think Mike from Tech PB even recommends this. If you could find one brand new, I'd definitely pick it up if you want something cheap. It's an awesome mask. I think they come in black, this green here, and then a red. The mask I have now, which isn't much more expensive, well, $60 I think I paid for this, is a Flex, made by JT. Awesome mask again. You can buy dye i4s or grills out there. They probably go from $80 to $100, but again, I wanted to save a little money. $60, and this mask is incredibly light, never fogs up on you. The only thing that people say is that is a hassle is quick change lenses aren't on this, so it is hard to change the lens, and I agree with that. It doesn't bother me too much. And then the cover, which again I wear a hat and everything, covers my ears anyway, so there is some space in there, but it's super light, awesome mask, and I'm gonna buy, if this one ever does break, I'd buy a new one or the new Flexes that comes out. But for the price, it's professional level mask for $60. Okay, so I'm gonna move on to, this is actually homemade stuff. And so homemade stuff is what you can do if you're, again, on a budget, but it's not really necessary. I did this more for fun. These parts are so cheap anyway that you might as well just buy them. But this is an old tank of mine. I think I could take this off. A Pure Energy tank. Let's see. I can't even get this off. Yeah, old Pure Energy tank. Look how long the reg is on it. Really long. But I made this cover for it because I don't want to pay money for one of those tank covers. All it is an old sock, like a wool sock, and I kind of sewed the end there, and it fits awesome actually on the tank. It doesn't come off. It's hard to get it off anyway. And it's good grip. I don't know, the tank's really ugly because I got this used again like everything else, and yeah, it kind of covers it up. Works good. These are homemade squeegees. Again, all this stuff's pretty cheap, like a squeegee. I do have a real squeegee, but made these more for fun. I got a Dollarama. These are actually rollers, for paint rollers. I cut lots of the hair off of them because they wouldn't fit down the barrel, but they're dual-ended with a dowel in the middle, all from the dollar store. I think I made 10 of them for like a couple dollars. They do work good. I've used them. You can see they're kind of dirty. Some of them are dirty. But they don't fold or anything. But again, just a cheap kind of alternative. I did it for fun. Ball caddies are about $20. Bought this for this Tupperware thing for like $8. So I didn't really save much, but again, it was just fun to do. Keep my paint in there. It doesn't hold too much either. In this case, I would just go buy a ball caddy if you needed one. You don't need one, but I just had to make this. You can actually fit a pod over this, tip it, it'll fill it up perfect. Snap it closed, and then you can even open up the sides here and fill it up your bag yourself, and then you kind of have a pod hole. So it works good. But I'd probably just buy caddy next time. But if you want to save money, that's kind of another solution there. And then one thing I missed over here is actually a homemade speed feed. Again, something that's really cheap. Well, actually, some of them can be $30. Didn't work that great. This is probably seen other videos of this. Pringles lid fits onto this Empire here. It's like, if I can just do, you're supposed to put an elastic band around it. One hand, it's kind of hard to do. Yeah, I'm not gonna do it. But if you just stick this on, the elastic band does not move. I took the top off. Doesn't really match, but you could probably color it in. And yeah, I used it actually all summer, and it worked as a speed feed. It wasn't perfect. I'd just probably buy one next time, but yeah, it was something fun to do. And now it's winter time, snow and everything, and I didn't want anything getting through there, so I put my original lid back on. I also don't wear a pod pack because I do play mostly rec ball, so I don't really fill pods unless I'm off the field. But yeah, those are some ways you can save money. Having a good knowledge about paintball as well. All this stuff we got for a deal. I bought an invert mini, not this one, but a black one, which I traded these colors for $100. It was dirty. That's the only problem with it. So I cleaned it up, resold that. So originally I probably only paid $90 for this. Paid $20 for this hopper here. Mask was brand new, so it was $60. And then this tank needed a rehydro. Someone didn't want to do it, so I got this tank for pretty cheap. Rehydroed it. There, saved some money there. There's just tons of different ways you can get cheap gear if you know what you're talking about. A lot of people locally just want to get stuff done quick or at their place, so you can give them an offer. And most times they'll take it. And so all my stuff is pretty cheap for playing with. And so yeah, I'd recommend any of the gear here, except for obviously the first stuff I showed you. Or else move to a pump, which would be awesome for saving paint if you're into pump, or give it a try. It's definitely fun and more rewarding when you get somebody out. Thanks for watching.